Hey there, everybody. This is CP Cards and Dice, and welcome to our presentation of the 1976 Yankees season through a replay using Inside Pitch Baseball. We're keeping the stats using Replay PC game, and we'll be doing that today. I usually print out a score sheet. I'm not doing that today, just not in the mood. So I'll just be using the cards and doing a chat, basically. And it's going to be the Yankees facing the Baltimore Orioles. It's Jim Palmer on the mound against Doc Ellis. So this is, I expect this to be a heck of a ball game. The way you play inside pitch baseball is first you read off the pitcher, then you read off the batter, then you go to the ballpark card if necessary. It's pretty much chartless. You'll see that I will maybe look at this chart maybe twice, 3 times a game, depending. And let's see, Jim Palmer in the replays, 10-15 with a 3.54 ERA and 200 innings pitched. So he's going to be facing Mickey Rivers in the lineup for the Yankees. I'll go over that quickly. It's going to be Mickey Rivers in center field, Roy White in left field, batting second. Batting third is the captain, the Walrus, Thurman Munson. Batting cleanup is Chris Chambliss. The DH batting fifth is Carlos May. He was acquired from the Chicago White Sox. Then it's Greg Nettles, the stellar third baseman. Batting sixth, batting seventh is Oscar Gamble in right field. Batting eighth is the young second baseman acquired from the Pittsburgh Pirates in a trade for Doc Medich. He's batting eighth, and batting ninth is Jim Mason. For the Orioles, it'll be Bumbry in center field, Grich at second base, Reggie Jackson in right field, batting third. Batting cleanup is the first baseman, Lee May. Ken Singleton in left. The DH is Tony Muser. Shortstop is Mark Belanger. Batting seventh. Batting eighth is Doug DeCinces, and batting ninth is Dave Duncan, the catcher. We're right about to start. And we're going to roll 3 dice. That's a 44 off Palmer, and that's going to be an error on the throw. So we will check that out. That's a 2-3. And a 2-3 is a single past the second baseman. And I do not believe that error on the throw that will qualify. Single past the second baseman. Oh, infield. So it could be error on the throw, single past the second base. So it's infield single and a potential error on the throw. We rolled a 1, so that will be an error on the throw for sure. So a 2-3 is a single. Grich stops it and then throws it over the head of Lee May, allowing Rivers to make it to second base. So it's going to be a single plus an error. And the error is on the second baseman. And that puts Rivers at second base, a runner in scoring position for the Yankees, just like that. That's snake eyes, and that's going to be a potential K against Roy White, who is batting lefty. And against a right-handed pitcher, it's not a K, so we're going to roll for White. And a 6-1 is lined and caught by the shortstop. That this could become a double play. And that turns into the runner on second, and it's to the shortstop. A 2 and a 3 is a double play. And they do not double him up. So it's an L6. You'll find that Inside Pitch Baseball has a ton of detail. It does require, dice rolls, but one way to get by that is by using something called the Rolls app. There's a Rolls.com app where you go there and you can input like 5 dice, and you just use the ones you need. So that way you don't have to keep on rolling. And I could do that here, but I'm just not doing that because you don't use the dice all the time. So Rivers is a second. And Thurman Munson, the captain, is at the place facing Jim Palmer. Here's the pitch, and that's a 35. That's a blank, so that tells us we go to the batter card. And a 42, and that's going to be a star line 2. That's a fly ball lifted center field. Bunbury in left center field. He gets under it and makes the catch. Rivers is going to hold. He is a +1, but I'm not going to move that. I'm not going to get into that right now. Chris Chambliss. It's a 5-4. Palmer, it reads blank. Here it is to Chambliss, a 3-5, and that's a star line 1, which is lifted to left. So Chambliss goes the opposite way, lifts one to Kenny Singleton, and that retires the side. So we go to the bottom of the first. Doc Ellis, one of my favorite pitchers. Eccentric, outspoken. Al Bunbury. That's a 41. That's blank. And a 6-2 off Bunbury is line base hit left field. So Bunbury goes the opposite way, and Roy White plays it on a hop. And Bunbury is a threat to steal. So an attempt is an 8. He's a 0. So we're looking for an 8 to steal on the 20-sided die. We did not use the 20-sided die, so we will use the 7, and he does get the lead. So now we're going to roll again for the stolen base. There goes Bunbury, and he is safe on a 1. So a single and a stolen base by Al Bunbury. Al Bunbury had 42 stolen bases in 1976. He's down at second base, and the batter is Bobby Grich. Pitch from Doc Ellis, a 31, and that's a blank. And a 45 is a ground ball third base. And Bunbury's going to hold on that. Off the top of my head, I just don't remember. I don't play this very much, so off the top of my head, only on a 6 roll. So do we get a 6? We don't. All right, so Bunbury, Nettles looks Bunbury back to second, fires across the diamond, and in time to get Bobby Grich. And that's going to be the first out. Yankees are in second place in our replay. Yankees are in second place in our replay. They're 50-44. The Baltimore Orioles are in sixth place, 41-54. So it's a very competitive division. Reggie Jackson, Reginald Martinez Jackson at the plate. Now, he had a cup of coffee with the Orioles in 1976, and then by 1977, he was given a fairly healthy free agent salary by George Steinbrenner. That's a 35 from Ellis. A 35 is a potential walk, and a 17 is not going to be a walk. So we're rolling off Jackson's card, and a 56 is going to be popped up infield. Randolph and Mason converge, and Randolph calls them off and makes the catch. So that's 2 down. So they get Reggie to pop up. And that's going to be Lee May stepping in the box. He's a right-handed hitter. Doc Ellis with a 2-1. That's a potential strikeout. A 19 will not be a K. So we're going off Lee May. And a 56, and that's going to be grounded to third. Nettles with a backhand. Long throw to first, and in time to retire the side. Go to the top of the second. Jimmy Palmer, Carlos May. 1-2 is a star line. Star line 2, and that's a fly to center. 1 up, 1 down. Greg Nettles is next, a 1-2 again. That's another star line. And we're going to use the blue for that, if I can track it. There it is. There's my blue. That's a 1 star line 1 off Palmer. That's a fly to left. 2 down. And it's Palmer versus Oscar Gamble. That's That's a 2-5, and that's ballpark. So we're going to roll on the ballpark, see what happens. A 6-3 on the ballpark is a unusual play, with rare play with bases empty. And let's roll a red and a yellow. It's a 24. Bases empty, 24. Second base goes into the hole to make a play, and Hurt's arm on the throw. Resolve play is a G4 range play. Okay, so let's throw a range play. That's Gritch, and Gritch is a range of a 3. So 3 or less, he gets to it, and he does not. So that goes through for a base hit. And then it says check for injury, and I'm not going to doing that. I don't play injuries, so I don't worry about that. But that's a base hit for Oscar Gamble. A 2-out single for Oscar Gamble. That was a lot of dice there. All right. And Willie Randolph now with Gamble on at first. Gamble doesn't steal very much. He's got very low. I think he had 5 stolen bases. Every so often I'll give him an attempt. Against Palmer's actually a +1, so I'll attempt it. I'll attempt it on this roll, and I don't get it. So Randolph, it's a 5-1 range play. So we're rolling off of Willie Randolph. See what happens. Range play is going to be a 32 and a 5, and that's a fly ball center field. The question is, will Bunbury get to it? And on that 5, I don't think he will. And he does not get to it. He's only a 3, so that drops in there. And it was, what, a 32? And it may drop in for a double. So a 5 or a 6, and it's going to be a double, and it is. Now Gamble on a double to center field, going from first to home, is going to be a +1. And Gamble, let's see, his running is a 3, so that's a 4. There's 2 outs, that's a 5. So we're gonna roll on the throw chart. As long as we don't get a 6, we're good. And we don't, so he scores easily. So that's a run scoring double for Willie Randolph on a ball that for a second there, it looked like Bunbury was going to get to, and he kind of slid in, and it hit off his glove, rolled away from him, and that allowed Gamble to come all the way around and score. Randolph goes into second on the double. RBI double for Willie, and the Yankees lead at 1-0. Yanks are independent race here. This is game number 94, number 5, I believe, on the season, July 27th. It's going to be Jim Mason, light hitting shortstop, 62, and that's an error, potential error on a grounder. Potential error on a grounder. We're going to use that 20. That's a 62, and that's a fly to center, and that's going to retire the side. Yanks pick up a run. And after an inning and a half, it's 1-0 Yankees. Kenny Singleton is up. It's a 6-2 range play at the ballpark. Range play at the ballpark. What happens here? We're going to look at the ballpark card. It's a 3-6. 3-6, and it's past the diving Chambliss. So Singleton pulls one down the line and gets into the corner. Will it be a single or a double? And it's going to be a single. Gamble cuts it off, and the throw goes into Randolph, keeping Singleton at first. Hope everybody's doing okay out there. Tony Muser with a runner at first. Nobody out. Doc Ellis, the pitch, 3-4. That's a blank. We're going to use that 11. That's a 3-5, and that's a star line 1, which is grounded to the second baseman. He's a 2. Halfway is a 3. It was grounded to second baseman, so it's going to be a 3. We're looking for 3 or less for the double play, and we get it. So it's going to be a 4-6-3 double play. And that's going to be 2 outs. It erases the single by Singleton. And it's Mark Belanger. Belanger batted 270. 66, and that is a potential walk. 17 will now be a walk. So now we roll off Belanger's card, and that's lifted to center. Rivers racing in, and he gets there, and that retires the side. So we go to the top of the third. No runs there for the Orioles. We go to the top of the third. It's going to be Mick the Quick leading it off for the Yankees. Here's the pitch from Jimmy Palmer, 64. And against a righty, that would be a potential home run, but against a lefty, it's a blank. We use that 14 and a 44, and that is going to be Starline 5, shortstop. Belanger up with it, fires the first, low throw, scooped out by May, and oh, they just get Rivers, who was flying down the line. Went out. Roy White with a 44, and that's an error on the throw. It's a 5-2. It's a fly ball to right. There will be no throw. That's out number 2. Thurman Munson. That's a 1-5, a potential walk. A 17 will not be a walk. Munson's not a guy who likes to walk very much. That's grounded to the second baseman, Grich. Grich went on to play. He picked up a big free agent contract and ended up in California for a bunch of years throughout the early 80s. I really liked Bobby Grich. I thought he was a classy player. He was known for his defense, but he could also hit and had some power. Back then, second basemen weren't really known for having power, but Grich had a little power. He had a little something. He hit 17. Oh, no, that's not. Let's see. Bobby Grich had 13 home runs. And for a second baseman, that was notable back then. So it's Doug DeCinces against Doc Ellis. Bottom of the third, 1-0 Yankees. That's a 4-3. That's a range play. And it's a 3-2 fly ball left field and right. Oh, no, it's going to drop in. It's going to drop in. That's a 5, and I think White is a 4, I believe. From left field, he is a 4, so that drops in. Will it be a single or a double is the question. It's going to be a single. So Doug DeCinces with a single, and it's the 9th place batter, Duncan. Here's a pitch. It's a 6-3, and that is Starline. Starline Watt. We use yellow for Starline. It's a 3. Starline 3 is a ground ball to short. This may be a double play. We're looking at a 4-5. So 5 or less, and it's a 6-4-3 double play. Yanks have a heck of a defense. That's one thing that I believe IP uses to ensure that championship teams, World Series teams, get there. They just you usually have a pretty good defense when you get to the World Series, and the Yankees definitely have a pretty strong infield defense and outfield defense, for that matter. Al Bumbry. Let's take a quick look at we're in the 2 outs in the bottom of the third, and Al Bumbry, he's 1 for 1 on the day. Here's a pitch from Doc Ellis. That's a 2-5. That's going to be a blank. So it's a 2-5, and it's a 4-5, and a 4-5 is a fly ball driven in the gap, and Rivers after it, and he's going to run it down. Mickey Rivers showing off his range out there. Jim Palmer now to Chris Chambliss on the top of the 4th. That's a 6-4, and versus a lefty, that's going to be a blank. And a Snake Eyes is a little ground ball and through into center field. Chambliss is on with a single. Carlos May now. 6-3, and that's wild. The 15 will not be a wild pitch, so we're rolling off of Palmer again. That's a 5-2, and that's at the ballpark. And at the ballpark, a 41 is a fly to right for out number 1. So Carlos May flies out to right, and it's Greg Nettles. 56 is a potential K, a 19 will not be a K. And that's a 21 off Nettles, and it's a fly to left. 2 out. Oscar Gamble. Here's the pitch from Palmer. It's a 5-3. That's a potential K, and a 5 will be a strikeout. Palmer blows a fastball by Gamble, and that retires the side. Go to the bottom of the 4th. It seems like the pace is picking up a little bit with, hey there, ID Jester, what's up? Yes, inside pitch is a great little game. You can know, I don't know if you noticed, but the pace is picking up a little bit on the game. Doc Ellis on the mound for the Yankees. Doc Ellis on the season is 8-4 with a 2.47 ERA. He was a huge pickup. He won 17 games for the Yankees in 1976. They got him for practically nothing. All right, so that's going to be a 4-4, and that's going to be a blank off Ellis's card. So we're going to look at Bobby Grich. Bobby Grich with a 3-5, and that's a question mark center field. Question mark center field off a righty, and that's going to be a ball that's run down by Rivers for out number 1. So he drove it to center field, but Rivers, showing off the range again, tracks it down. Reginald Martinez Jackson with a 3-4, and that's a blank, so that takes us to Reggie's card. That's a 1-5er, and that's a fly ball lifted to right. Gamble in the gap, and he's there. 2 out. Lee May, pitch from Ellis. 2-6 is a blank. It's a 65, and that's a star line 2, which is grounded to the third baseman Nettles. Nettles up with it, fires in time. Top of the 5th. Willie Randolph on a 1-6. That's a potential strikeout, and a 13 will not be a K. So we're rolling off Willie Randolph. That's a 4-3, and that's lifted to left. 1 down. Jim Mason, very light hitting shortstop, batted 180 for the Yankees. 1-6. That's why the Yankees picked up Bucky Dent in 1977. 1-6 is a K. A 16 will not be a K. It's a +1 here at Memorial Stadium, but it's a 14 +1. It still won't reach the 16. So we're rolling off of Jim Mason's card, and Jim Mason gets a hold of one and drives it in the gap, and that's going to roll between Jackson and Bunbury. It's going to go all the way to the wall. And Mason, big turnaround first and into second base with a stand-up 2-out double. 1-out double. So Mason is at second. Mick the Quick. Here's the pitch from Jimmy Palmer. That's a 1-4. Yanks are up 1-0. That's a blank. And a 4-3 is going to be a ground ball to the second baseman. That's going to allow Mason to get to third. Over to first. 2 out. And now it's Roy White. Jim Palmer looks in for the sign. He sets and deals. That's a 6-1. That's a potential hit by pitch +2. And he gets plunked. Roy White gets it in the ribs. Ouch. I hate to see that. I mean, that hurts me from the booth. So first and third now, and that brings up the captain, the Walrus. Thurman Munson. And Munson, let me tell you a little bit about Munson in the replay. Munson's batting .319 in the replay. He's got 11 home runs, 6 stolen bases. Thurman Munson now. Roy White could potentially run. So we'll try to get a lead on this roll. Let's try to get a lead. See what happens. And an 11, Roy White, +1 there. Roy White's now he'll be a 5 attempt, so he doesn't get it. So here goes. 2 outs. Munson 1-1-5. That's a potential walk, and 18 will not be a walk. So we're rolling on Munson's card 6-6, and that is pulled down the line into left field, and that's going to score a run. That's going to score a run, and White is a 4, I believe, to get to third on that S5. First to third requires a 6. There's 2 outs, a single to yeah, he's going to stop. He's going to. So it's an RBI single for Munson. It's cut off by Singleton and left, and Gets it into Belanger. So Roy White's going to be a +1, and that's not going to be enough on that S5 to get to third base. So they're going to hold up. They're going to hold Roy White at second on that single, but the Yanks lead it 2-0. The captain, the clutch, Mr. Clutch comes through. Chris Chambliss. Here's the pitch from Palmer. That's a 6-3, and that's wild. A wild one. That's going to be a wild pitch. And both runners are going to move up on this. So Jim Palmer spikes a fastball. Hey there, Jay. Oh, hi, League. Here, all right. And all right, so there's a wild pitch, and Chambliss. And now again, wild pitch, successful wild pitch. I believe it goes to the. I believe it goes. It does this with the successful wild pitch. Does it stay with the pitcher? Or does it go to the wild pitch? The possible wild pitch, pass ball, check with pitcher. Okay. All failed checks, blanks go to batter's card. All failed wilds and wilds with no runners on. Go to batter's card. Okay, all failed. So I think it's going to stay with the home run hit by pitch. Wild. Okay. Possible wild pitch, pass ball. If no runner on, disregard. If runners are on, check against wild pitch is instant wild pitch that runners advancing. PB up after in the defensive ratings higher. Fail PB or failure to roll and the ranges are considered a foul roll again on the pitcher's card. So for PB1A roll, so I guess it's going to go to the batter's card. I don't know. Palmer had his chance to do something. He didn't do it. What am I going to tell you? Oh, you can check it out now. It plays very smooth, very easy to play. I mean, there's a little bit of a learning curve. It just takes time. You just got to know where everything is, and that's one of the tricks. So second and third, Chambliss, a lefty. Who's batting? Who's up next? It's Carlos May. Do I want to face a 293 hitter or a 259 hitter? It's 30 points. With 2 outs, I'm just going to. Here's the pitch. It was already on Chris Chambliss's card. So that's a ground ball to the first baseman. And that's going to retire the side, but the Yanks pick up a run. They lead it 2-0. Wild pitch that's successful goes back to the pitcher card. All right. Let's replay it then. 4-1 is going to be a potential home run. A 19 won't be. So that goes to the batter card again. So let's back up. So it's a successful wild pitch, and it goes back to the pitcher card according to ID. And that's fine with me. 6-2, and that's going to be a fly ball right. No harm, no foul. 70% of baseball is outs anyway. I mean, Singleton against Doc Ellis. Doc Ellis is one of my favorite pitchers. We're going to take a look at batter's face, looking at the box score. I'm using the Replay Baseball PC game. Ellis has got 13 batter's face, and Palmer's got 22. Palmer can go 31, and Ellis can go 28. I love the 70s and 80s. Pitchers can really hang in there. You don't have to be worried about having a big bullpen. 3-3, that's a blank. So we're going to Kenny Singleton's card, and the 2-3 is popped up left side, Nettles in foul ground, now back into fair ground, and he makes the catch. Tony Muser. That's a 2-5, that's a blank. Muser's a lefty, batted 227. He's their DH. That's a 3-6, and that's grounded to Randolph and whips it over to first for out number 2. Mark Belanger. Pitch from Ellis, a 6-2, and that's a range play at the ballpark. Range play at the ballpark requires one more die, the green die. That'll tell us high numbers probably hit, low numbers probably an out. 1-5, and that's going to be a potential home run. So this is interesting. Potential home run, and against a righty it would only be a 1. We rolled a 6, so that's not going to do it. And he's going to run it down in center field for the out. All right, so we go top of the 6th, 2-0 Yankees. And the pitch from Palmer, 42 against a lefty. That's a blank. And a 55, and that's a fly ball. Bunbury on the run, and he tracks it down in left center field. Greg Nettles, 6-3, and that's wild, so we're rolling that again on the pitcher's card. And a 4-2 is against a righty would be a K. So that's going to take us to Nettles' card. And now it's a 3-3, and that's a fly. 3-3 is a star line 5, which is grounded to Belanger. He's up with it. Fires the first in time for out number 2. That's a 2-3, and that's a blank. Oscar Gamble, 4-1, and that's star line 1, which is lifted to left. Over Singleton towards the line, hooking away from him, and he makes the catch. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Doug DeCinces. It's going to be DeCinces, Duncan, and the top of the order, Bunbury. Against Doc Ellis, that's a 1-6. That's a blank. And a 2-2, and that's grounded to short, and Mason gets there. Over to first, and in time. Dave Duncan. And 3-3 is a blank. And a 1-6 to center. Can of corn for Mick the Quick. Out number 2 in the bottom of the 6th. That's a 1-2 to Al Bunbury. That's an error on a grounder. And that's probably going to be because we rolled a 3. If it's a grounder, 3-5 is a grounder to second base. And that's going to be an error. That's going to be an error on Randolph. So it's E4. A 2-out error on Willie Randolph. And Bunbury's going to try to steal. 19 is not going to do it. Bobby Grich with a 2-1. That's going to be a potential strikeout. And an 8 is strike 3. And Ellis gets him swinging. And that retires the side. Willie Randolph is going to lead us off here in the top of the 7th. Pitch from Palmer is blank. Todd Smith. Hey there, brother. Todd Smith, 31. It was blank. I believe I said I got distracted in the middle of it. It's grounded to the third baseman, DeCinces. He's up with it. Fires the first low. Scooped out by May. But, Randolph thinks he's safe. And the coach is telling him, just go back to the dugout. You don't know what you're talking about, rookie. So 5-3, thrown out by Doug DeCinces, who replaced, even though Brooks Robinson is still on this team, but Doug DeCinces is starting to get play at third base. It's going to be Mason. Mason's got a double in this game. Mason is a 180 hitter in 1976. He stroked a double in the gap in this game. He's 1 for 2. In the replay, I'll tell you what he's batting. In the replay, he's batting 151 and 200 at bats. Very realistic. 4-3. And that's going to be a star line. Star line what? Star line 4, and that's chopped to second. Grich over to first in time. 2 outs. Top of the order, Mick the Quick. Mickey Rivers is batting 334 in the replay. He batted 312 that season. Jim Palmer versus Mickey Rivers. That's a 35. That's a blank. We're rolling off Rivers, a 5-4, and that is a little ground ball up the middle and through into center field for a base hit. So Mickey Rivers is going to try to get the jump. Mickey Rivers' attempt is a 7 + 1 for Palmer. Oh, we actually had an 8 there, so we can use that. So he does get it, and that 4. There goes Rivers, the throw down from Duncan, and the tag is not in time. Grich, the throw was a little offline, and Grich had to go out, grab it, and come back with it, and Mickey Rivers steals second base. So with 2 outs, you got Rivers at second, and here's Roy White. Pitch from Palmer, that's a 33. That's going to be a potential K of 4. It's strike 3, and curveball gets White, and that retires the side. We're going to check for batter's face now. Let's see. Doc Ellis has 20 and 29 for Palmer, I think, and Palmer can go 31. So you can still go a little bit more, and then we'll probably keep him in there. I'm not a guy who's going to – he will work fatigued a little bit. Gone 9 there. 9 and there's two numbers, a righty and a right number and a left number. They both one is the accumulation of runs, walks, and hits. Let's see how Palmer's doing in that. Palmer's got no. Okay, he's good because he got no walks. All right, so where were we? Reggie Jackson's up. Nobody on. Nobody out. Doc Ellis pitching a heck of a ball game. He's got a three hitter going here. That's a 5-4, and that's a range play. 5-4 range play off the batter card, a 41, and that's grounded to the second baseman. And that 4, Willie Randolph's going to get to it, back on his feet, and over to first and in time to get Jackson. 4-3. Nice play by Willie Randolph. Acquisition from the Pittsburgh Pirates. That's a 6-6. That's a walk. A 9 against a righty is not going to be a walk, so we're going over to Lee May's card. It's a 1-5, and that's grounded to short. And Mason is going to go after it, and he's there. Fires to first, and in time to get Lee May. Kenny Singleton, 3-5. So walk. Nope, not a walk. Not enough for a walk. So we're rolling off of Kenny Singleton, 2-4, and that's line and caught by Chambliss. Top of the 8th. Oh, that's only 2 outs. Oh, wait, no, that's the outs. Top of the 8th. Munson, Chambliss, and Carlos May against Jim Palmer. That's a 3-4, and that's blank to Munson. So 4-6, and that's chopped to second. Grich charges it over to first. 1 down. Chris Chambliss is next. It's a 5-3, and that is a potential K. And an 18 will not be a K. We go to 3-2, and that's lifted to center. Bumbry over. Makes the catch. And that Palmer is now tired. So he's going to, that anything in parentheses on in his boxes will be whatever it tells you, if it's a walk or a hit. Here's a pitch. Carlos May with 2 outs, top of the 8th. That's a 1-4. That's a blank. And a 4-4 is a star line 3, which is lifted to right. Reggie Jackson towards the line. Makes the catch, and that retires the side to go to bottom of the 8th. Doc Ellis is still in there pitching a 3-hitter. It's going to be Tony Muser, followed by Belanger and DeCinces. That's a 3-3. That's a blank. And a 2-6. 2-6 is grounded to the third baseman. Nettles backhanded. Long throw to first. High, but nice stretch by Chambliss to get Muser. Mark Belanger. It's a 4-1. That's a tired single. Ellis is definitely not tired. Ellis can go 32, and he's only gone 24. I just pulled that up in the box score. Yeah, there's an error check. There's an error check on the defense. So if there's an error check on the batter's card, you always got to check for the error. And that's why the D20's there. And I know my players already. So yeah. So I know what their error rating is. So if it says like error second base, I know that Willie Randolph is an 8. So a 13 would be above that. It wouldn't be an error. So that's why maybe yeah, that's how it works. So you always, Todd Smith, you always have to check the fielder for the error. All right, Mark Belanger. There's 1 out. Mark Belanger, 41. And okay, so that's going to be a blank. So we're going to roll off Belanger now. And it's a 2-3, and that's going to be popped up right side at Chambliss. He's waiting for it. That's 2 outs. Next is Doug DeCinces. Pitch from Ellis, a 6-3, and that is a star line. Star line 6 lifted to center. Rivers over, makes the catch. Top of the 9th. Just like that, this is a 40-minute game. I haven't played it in a while, so Jimmy Palmer's still in there. He's tired, but we're going to let him go. Greg Nettles, 3-1, and that's a potential walk of 14. Will not be a walk. So we're rolling off of Nettles. A 6-1 against a righty is going to be a little ground ball and through into right field. Jackson gets it into Grich. So leadoff batter Greg Nettles. We may bring in. You know what? We're gonna call in. We're gonna call the bullpen. We're gonna call the bullpen. It's gonna be coming in. It's going to be Dyer Miller. So Dyer Miller's coming in. There we go. Dyer Miller against Oscar Gamble. Running around first, 4-3. And against a lefty, that's a potential K, and that is a K. So Gamble goes down swinging. So Miller comes into the game and immediately strikes out Oscar Gamble. Now it's Willie Randolph. That's a 5-6, and that's a blank. A blank 43, and that's a fly ball left field. Singleton on the run, and in the gap, runs it down. And Jim Mason. That's a 2-1. That's an error on a throw. Potential error on a throw in 11 is a pretty high number. So we're going to see what the result is here. It's a 5-1. So that's a 5-1 is a fly ball to right, so there will be no throw on that. And that retires the side. So we go to the bottom of the ninth. Tidrow and Ellis are in the bullpen for the Yankees. But Billy Martin's going to let Doc Ellis go the distance. You know that Billy Martin loves to let his pitchers go the distance. You know what? It seems a little tricky. Well, if you're watching it for the first time, it seems a little tricky. But after you do it again and again and again, I played basically one game, at least one game a day for 30 days. And I have systems that I use to learn the games. I simplify everything. I break games into 3 chunks of 3 innings. So I'll play 3 innings and I'll learn basic things. I'll keep certain things that are more complicated simple. You know, like you go first to third on a hit to right field, but on a hit to left, you just stop at second. So I don't have to learn base running yet. That's how I did it. Once I learned all the other rules, then I kind of dove into base running. It's really worth it. It's a wonderful game. It's deep. You know, it's got a lot of detail. It's got a lot of color, a lot of charisma, a lot of character. There's a lot of, you know, idiosyncrasies about it, and it's definitely unique. I really like it, and I play a lot of games. But you do have to invest a little bit of time in learning it. You're not going to learn it in 5 minutes, but you know you just got to learn where everything is. Once you learn, I think that's really the key, to know where everything is. Where do I look for this? Where do I look for that? Right? Once you know where to look, then it's pretty much it's common sense. So it's going to be Dave Duncan leading it off here in the bottom of the ninth. It's 2-0. Doc Ellis has got a 3-hitter going. Yankees have 2 runs, 8 hits, 1 error. Baltimore Orioles have no runs, 3 hits, 1 error. And it's Doc Ellis. Here goes. Dave Duncan, 2-3, and that's going to be a potential walk of 17. Will not be a walk. That's too high. So we are rolling off Dave Duncan's card, and the 2-6 is going to be a little ground ball and through the left side into left field. Roy White picks it up. So that's trouble now, because that brings the tying run to the plate. And we're probably going to get a pinch runner for Duncan. And let's take a quick peek at who we can bring in. Oh, you know what? Paul Blair. We can bring in Paul Blair to run. So Paul Blair is going to run. We just don't want anybody to clog. Oh, he's not even very fast. Let's look for somebody a little bit faster than Paul Blair. Holy smokes. He's only a 2 base runner. Let's see, who else do I have here? Harper, Nordbrook. Tim Nordbrook's a 3. Dempsey, Brooks, Robinson, Crowley. So the best I can do here is a 3 with the guys that are on my roster right now. And that's going to be Tim Nordbrook. Nordbrook is a shortstop, second baseman. So Nordbrook's going to come in. He's going to pinch run for Duncan. And it's going to be Al Bumbry. Excuse me. So this is where we have to look. It's going to be two lefties, and I think it's time. You know what? We're gonna bring in Sparky Lyle. We're gonna bring in Sparky Lyle just like that. I know you're gonna call me Captain Hook. Oh, if you play Dynasty, I think this is any game is simpler than Dynasty. And Strat is complicated not because it's complicated, just because it's designed basically they designed a basic system in the late 1950s, and then they kept on adding to that system. All right, whereas modern systems are already designed to be complex, to include lots of things, whereas that was a simple design. It was a one-sided cards, very simple, basic, and then they started adding double-sided cards, and they started adding all these symbols and like that. IP is not like that at all. IP, when it was first designed, it was to include all these things, and that's already worked out in the system. So this is a much more elegant structure of the game if you compare it to the games that were, developed early on and then built up over a long period of time, like Strat was. Strat was designed in the late 50s, and over the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and so on. They just been putting stuff. It's like you make a hamburger, right? It's simple hamburger. It's got onions and pickles, and then you know what? We're gonna add some lettuce. We're gonna add some tomato. We're gonna add some guacamole or avocado. We're gonna and you keep on building it up, building it up. Eventually, you try to pick it up, and the whole thing drops all over the place. All right. I mean that's like an analogy or a metaphor for it. All right, so we're bringing in Sparky Lyle here. I have a feeling that that's probably my best move right here. We need to win these games. We're in second place, so we need to win these games. So let's see if the Yankees can hold on. I mean, Ellis did a great job. He will be the MVP if the Yankees can hold on here. So it's going to be Bunbury with a runner on first, and here goes. Here's the pitch. That's a 2-5, and that's going to be a range play ballpark. Range play ballpark is going to require another die, and that's going to be a low one. That's good for the Yankees. 3-2. 3-2 is going to be a ball, a little number in front of the plate, and Munson shoots out like a rocket, and he's on top of that. Now, he could turn this into a double play. Bunbury doesn't hit into many double plays, but he does have a 2 there. Plus, Sparky Lyle is a 3. +1, so that's a 3 total, plus the infield's playing halfway. And with a lefty at the plate, it's going to be the shortstop who's covering the bag. So we're looking at a 2, 3, a 4. So we roll a 4 or less, that's going to be a double play. It's going to be a 2, 6, 3 double play. And you know what? I'm thinking of Bunbury's speed. That's a stretch. I don't know if they're going to get a 2.63 with Al Bunbury, but Al Bunbury's only a 3 here, but that's not really his speed. Anyway, let's not worry about that. And that is going to be a 2.63 double play, just in time to get Bunbury. He struggles to get out of the box. He slips for a second, and and Thurman Munson, the captain's, amazing baseball instincts, lead him to decide, hey, I'm going to get that. I'm gonna stop that runner at second, and it's a 2.63 double play. I don't even know if that's actually within the rules to do that. Ground outs, double play. It doesn't say you can't have a 2.63 double play. It says just add up the GDP, the pivot, the depth, and that's it. All right, so that's a big play for the Yankees. Thurman Munson, the captain, shining bright. It's a 2.63 double play. And there's 2 outs now. Bottom of the 9th. Nobody on. Bobby Grich, the batter. Call me Captain Hooked. All right, so we're down to the left. The Orioles are down to their last out. It's Bobby Grich. Nobody on. 2-0 Yankees. It's a 6-1, and that's a walk plus. Uh-oh, that's trouble. And he's going to walk. So that's ball 4, high outside. And again, this is where it gets exciting, right? This is where it gets exciting. You got to milk it. Reginald Martinez Jackson at the plate against Sparky Lyle. Against Sparky Lyle's splitter. Little do they know that Reggie Jackson and Sparky Lyle will be teammates in 77 and 78 and 79. But at this point, they're competitors. So the tying run is at the plate, and Reginald Martinez Jackson, Bobby Grich is at first. And we're ready to roll here. Here goes. Sparky Lyle looks in for the sign, sets and deals. That's a 5-6. It's a potential hit by pitch, but he's -10, so it won't be a hit by pitch. So a failed hit by pitch goes to the batter card. I just looked that up before. It says it right here. I looked that up before. All failed hit by pitch checks go to the batter's card to resolve. It's a little bit inconsistent. Some things go to the batter card and some things don't. I don't know. Not worried about it. All right, so Reggie Jackson. It's off Reggie Jackson's card. Does Jackson have any homer? He does have a home run versus a lefty on a 6-1. So a 6-1, it's an automatic home run, and this game is tied. It's a 1-2, so it's not going to be it, but it is a ground ball that Reggie pulls and through the hole into right field, and Grich is going to hustle to third base, first and third now. So we're going to double check that. A 1-2 is a ground ball past the diving Chambliss and into right field. Grich over to third, first and third now. So now the winning run is at the plate. Tying run is at first base. Jackson has good speed. Lee May has good power, so not going to try to steal, put him. If this was a punch and Judy hitter, I would consider attempting to get a lead and trying to send Jackson because he's got good base running. He stole 8 bases. But in this case, Lee May is a power hitter, hit 25 home runs. I don't want to lose that trying to get the tying run at second base. I just don't want to risk that. He could get thrown out. The odds are less than 25% that he gets thrown out. Yeah, I don't know. A single could definitely score him, though, if he did that. So what are the odds? What are the odds that less likely? It's less likely for Lee May to hit a home run than for Jackson to steal second. So we're going to try to get the steal. We're going to use that 2. We're going to use that 2 because I believe we did not use that 2. And now we're going, so he does get the jump. There goes Jackson. And they're throw from Munson guns down Jackson, and the ball game is over. Holy smokes. Jackson went on his own. And I'll tell you, Jackson is stunned, and so is everybody here at Memorial Stadium. Jackson gets thrown out, stealing, trying to get to second base, and hopefully hoping to score on a single and tie the ball game. And 17, it was 1-16. Wait a second. Oh, no, he's safe. Sparky Lyle's a +2. That's 1-18. No, Jackson argues, and he's safe. And out comes Billy Martin now. Billy Martin is going to get tossed from this ball game. This is outrageous. He can't believe it. He doesn't understand how you can call him out, and now he's safe. And that's baseball, my friends. So Reggie Jackson takes a risk. Looks like it didn't pay off, and suddenly we double check with the umpire for some reason changed his mind and calls him safe. Jackson is at second. Grich is at third. 2 outs, bottom of the 9th. Lee May. And here's the pitch from Sparky Lyle. So a single is going to tie this ball game up. And that's a 45. A 45 is against a righty is a blank. So we are going to roll on Lee May. Here goes. And that's a 6-6, and that's a fly ball. Is that going to drop? Rivers racing in, and he slides and makes the catch. and the ball game is over. Mick the Quick misplayed it for a split second, took a half step back, and then said, "Uh-oh, I'm in trouble." A sinking liner off the bat of Lee May is caught by Rivers with a sliding catch in center field, and the Yankees win it by a score of 2-0. Boy, that last inning made the whole game worth it. And that's the ball game, folks. And I'll read you the I'll give you the info now. Give you all the info. All right, wait a second. Let us go back 1 second here. Hold on a second. And now where's my my catcher? Okay, so I have to take a picture of something. So the final is the Yankees 2 runs, 8 hits, 1 error, no runs, 5 hits, 1 error for Baltimore. Yankees pull it out. The victory is going to go to Ellis, and Lyle is going to pick up a save. Got to take a picture of these of what happened because I got to go back. I forgot to do something that I needed to do, and let me go back real quickly here. Undo. And then it was okay. All right, everything's good. All right. Okay, so yeah, so that was the ball game. I don't know if you have what you guys think about inside pitch, but that was a blast, and that's why we play these games, right? I mean, I was on the edge of my seat. I was for sure that that the Orioles were going to tie this up, and the Yankees cannot afford to lose any of these games. They got to hold on. They're in second place. Boston is in first place. So, and it started off with a single, right? It started off with a single in the 9th. And then it was Al Bunbury, and in came Sparky Lyle to face Bunbury. And then Bunbury ground out, basically hit a little nubber in front of the plate, and Munson jumped out from behind the plate, picked it up, and sent it to second for the force. And then the throw to first, Bunbury kind of slipped and a little bit getting out of the box, and he was thrown out of first base for a double play. That was a surprise for all of us. That was a 2-6-3 double play. That was a big one for the captain, and that gave us nobody on and 2 outs. But then what happened was that Bobby Grich walked. And then it was Reggie Jackson who came up, and he lined a pitch to the hole into right field for a single. So with 2 outs, that put runners on first and third. And then up came Lee May. Jackson decided he was trying to steal to see if he could score on a single because there was a better odd that that Lee May would single than he would homer. So Jackson, threw all caution to the wind and took off. And at first, it looked like the umpire called him out, and then out came Billy Martin, and it seemed that he was called safe. So Billy Martin was outraged and got thrown out of the game. Was ejected after kicking dirt in the umpire's shoes and on his knees. And then Lee May lined one, a sinking line drive to Rivers in center, who Rivers kind of misplayed a little bit, misjudged off the bat, and then raced in and slid and made a sliding catch to end the game, and that was it. That was all. So that was tremendously exciting. Doc Ellis improves his record to 9-4. Jim Palmer drops to 10-16. Sparky Lyle picks up his 9th save, and as I predicted, it is Doc Ellis who is the MVP for the game. Notable offensive players for the Yankees. The only player with 2 hits was Mickey Rivers. His average is at 336. RBI was for Munson and Randolph. They both had RBIs. Let's see, stolen bases. Rivers stole his 32nd base of the season. Bunbury stole his 26th base of the season. And that's about it. So this is CP Cards and Dice saying, I hope you enjoyed our presentation of Inside Pitch Baseball. And I wish everyone health and safety in these very, very inconsistent times, very trying times. And that's it. Keep rolling. And I think that our hobby is really flourishing right now since so many people can't really go anywhere. I mean, I haven't been out in over 3 months, just been rolling every day. If you saw my desk. Now, I just wanted to mention to you guys that I do play Payoff Pitch, and that we do have a Facebook group that's become fairly popular very quickly. It's called Payoff Pitch Group Network. It's a free speech forum. You don't get chastised or shamed for saying things, and you don't get booted for every little thing all the time. It's kind of, we're fairly tolerant there. We also have the Deep Drive forum. I play Deep Drive baseball as well. I think these are my 4 favorite games: Payoff Pitch, Deep Drive, Inside Pitch, and Replay Baseball. I think those are my 4 favorite games right now, pretty much. Probably with Inside Pitch as being my favorite, and close second is Payoff Pitch and Deep Drive. I think they're all in a 3-way tie for first. I use the Replay PC game to track all my stats. Let me give you the schedule. Let me tell you the standings. So Boston is 51-43. The Yankees are 51-44. So the Yankees are half a game behind Boston. This is game 95. So this is pretty exciting. We got another game with Baltimore coming up. And let's look and see what the Boston is playing Cleveland, and we're going to autoplay that right now and tell you. So if Boston loses that game, the Yankees will be in a tie with Boston, I believe. Let's see. Let's autoplay that. Final score, Boston wins at 9-4. So the Yanks are 1 game behind the Boston Red Sox. So I'm going to autoplay the day, and I did that. Now it takes us to the next day. And the Yankees it's going to be Doyle Alexander versus Wayne Garland. So these are beautiful cards. They're nice, easy to read. They're large font, easy to read, orange. And this is a game where you're getting, your money's worth. This is a game where you're getting your money's worth for sure. Wayne Garland, I may have to pull him out of his actual. I think he was he not on another team? Oh no, he was on. Okay, here he is. So I'm starting to set up the next game, and I do this, and then I take a break. For the Yankees, it's going to be Doyle Alexander. He was picked up in 76 as well. Doyle Alexander, kind of a journeyman pitcher who played all over. He played with almost every team. I've seen him on Toronto, on Detroit, Texas. He's pitched with almost everybody. And we're going to use the actual lineups. And Replay Baseball has all the actual lineups for me there. So it looks like it's going to be the same. Let's see. Roy White batting second, Thurman Munson, Chris Chambliss, Carlos May, Greg Nettles, Oscar Gamble, Willie Randolph, Jim Mason. That's it. Same lineup. For the Orioles, Bunbury Blair is in there. So we're going to bring in Blair. Let's see, Blair and anybody else that didn't play. No, Blair's the only one that's new to the lineup. So I'm almost ready. That's how quickly I get set up for these games. Nope. Looking for Polarius, Paul Blair. So just like that, Bumbry, and then it's going to be Blair and Gritch batting third. I guess who are they removing here? Lee May is fourth. So, oh, Jackson's out in this game. Jackson's out. Okay. So Muser and Belanger and DeCinces and Duncan. And that's it. I'm ready for next game, guys. So I'm going to play a 3-game set. Then I'm going to jump back into probably payoff pitch, my 69 Mets replay, or and maybe deep drive. I'm doing the 71 A's in deep drive and the 2019 Mets. But I've been kind of haven't been playing much 2019 Mets lately. I don't know why. I just didn't want to make all the pitching changes that are required. You got to have 4 or 5 relief pitchers per side per game. So anyway, this CP Cards and Dice. This is CP Cards and Dice TV, broadcasting from the heart of the United States of America, 2020. And I will see you guys later. Keep rolling.